What is up YouTube? This is AVAULT here, and today I got you guys a very special structure deck opening. The Lair of Darkness structure deck reloaded opening for you guys. Man, I know I never did an opening on this product before because this product came out a year ago, but for those who don't know, I'm telling you guys right now, this is one of my favorite structure decks of all time. I love the design of the cards in this set. Darkest Diablos, which is the front cover main boss monster of this deck, is just absolutely really cool. And also, you guys be sure to check this out. I even got a Lair of Darkness structure deck playmat to come, a proper rubber cloth playmat to go with our opening for today. And yes, once again, this deck came out almost a year ago. I think it was like last year during April. So I know I am very late into the game of making a video on this, but I just really want to share with you guys, along with the playmat, of course, with the Lair of Darkness structure deck opening. And once again, one of my favorite decks of all times. And there was a this deck is a reloaded one. However, it wasn't what it was reloaded off of was never came out for us for the TCG. So basically, the deck this was reloaded off was a deck called Curse of Darkness, which only came out for the OCG, I believe. Never we have had it in the TCG for some reason. I don't know why, but that deck had a Diablos in it. So sort of like the normal Diablos cards, which is also in this deck as well, which we'll see later. And yeah, not sure why it never came out for us, but really glad that we got this one, because then so that, you know, make up for it. And really cool. I really like the whole Diablos designs, this dragon with chains and, you know, with this really nice neon red lighting color on it as well. Oh yeah, but before I open it, we gotta read the back. So we got wicked shadow lords with immeasurable power. So we have Duelists, beware, this shall forever be known as the day that Darkest Diablos and the terrifying tyrants of torment descend upon earth in structure deck Lair of Darkness. These wicked shadow lords boast immeasurable power, but demand heavy tribute for any duelist who seeks to wield it. This 41 card theme deck is playable right out of the box and synergizes well with other dark strategies. And yes, also once again, buy 3 copies of these decks. You can build a pretty good, fun, budget-friendly deck. I'm not sure how competitive it can be, but it can be sort of competitive for you to bring to locals and probably do pretty okay in those. But meta competitive, then not so much, however. But, you know, once again, without further ado, let's get this guy cracking up open. So, for those who don't know what this deck strategizes on, this deck mainly strategizes on tributing monsters. And you tribute monsters to use your effects, such as the virus cards, which we'll get into very shortly. And to destroy cards, pop cards, summon cards, and all that. So we have the beginner's guide right here, nice and printed, but we're not going to read that. We have our deck list along with our playmat guide. So let's quickly take a look of this playmat that we have here. So we have Darkest Diablos right in the middle with a Lilith and can't remember this guy's name, sorry about that, but yeah, so as the playmat. However, this playmat is much more better. So, sorry, paper playmat, you are out for today. But however, we do have to want to quickly look at some combos right here, just so we know how to play this deck. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have lots of virus cards. Okay, so this card's called Rhema, now I remember his name. So yeah, and then buy also these packs, Dark Savior, Flames of Destruction, Circuit Break, and Extreme Force to power up this deck. Although these cards that they tell you to get to power up the deck is not really that helpful, I think, personally, for this deck. So, right here, kind of weird we have a lift at the very front. Oh, of course we have Duel Links and as here as well. As always, Duel Links, really great game. I play it. You guys should definitely play it as well. I highly recommend it. It's really great for fun. So it's basically a mobile version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it focuses on speed duels. Alright. So yeah, kind of strange that we have Lilith in the front, but that is our first card, new support archetype for this archetype series. So Lilith, Lady of Layman. So basically she grabs you your essential trap cards that you need to basically set up. So the virus cards most likely. And then we have Darkest Diablos, the boss monster, the main man. I absolutely love the design and artwork of this card. Really like those lightning effects that it just gives off, like really fierce, really angry, really strong, powerful design that I just really like. And it's even got wings, and man, what is there not to like about this card, really? So it's a level 8 dark attribute monster with 3000 attack, and he's just really easy to bring out. You know, all you have to do is if a dark monster you control is tributed, except during the damage step, you can basically special summon this card from the graveyard. If it was there when you tributed, or hand even if not. And then its other effect you can use is you contribute one dark monster, and your opponent places one card from their hand, either the top or bottom of the deck. So it's basically like it's got the same effect as the old Diablos that it used to have, which really basically just resembles it a lot. And man, once again, really pretty. Sorry if I keep repeating it, but this is my favorite deck, so I just have to say that. Then we've got Rhema, the Wicked Warden. So basically, this deck has field spell called Lair of Darkness, and he is able to basically search out and bring out your field spell as quickly as possible. So we have Lair of Darkness right here, and that is essential for this deck. So what this basically does is all face-up monsters on the field become dark, and once per turn, whenever you have to tribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you contribute one dark monster your opponent controls, like as if you controlled it basically. So let's say you have to basically activate your virus cards to tribute dark monsters. You can literally just tribute your opponent's dark monsters, get rid of them. And really powerful key wording in this deck or in this card, on these cards, is because you are tributing their monsters, and you're not really destroying it, you're not popping them, you're not returning them, so they're not really being targeted for many effects that negate this type of effect. There's no cards out there that basically negates tributing, except for Mask of Restrictedness. I think that's the only counter to this deck. Otherwise, like, it doesn't consider as popping, it doesn't consider as returning, it's not banishing, any of that type. So that's what makes this deck really deadly when it first came out, because you usually just tribute them as a cost, and you get rid of one card your opponent's controls, and then you use your effect. So basically using your opponent's resources for your own purposes. And also it brings out Dark Torment tokens at the end turn of the during the end turn, so that you can use those tokens furthermore to extend even more of your combos. And then we have a new virus card, well, not new for today, but new for when this deck came out, Grinning Grave Virus. So this card is okay decent, it's not super OP or anything, but you know, really cool looking card. Then we have Duke Shade. I believe this card was also new just for the structure deck, the Sinister Shadow Lord. So really good card for this to run this deck. And then we have Diablos, the King of the Abyss, the old version of Darkest Diablos, what it used to look like. And they look fairly similar. You can obviously see the evolution coming in. And except the only difference is, you know, this one, the Darkest Diablos, has much more detail and much more dynamic in terms of illustration and artwork compared to this one, Diablos King. And the other difference is this one, Darkest Diablos, is glowing with red, so he's like really angry for sure, you can tell. And this one has blue highlights and trims instead, which I actually would prefer blue highlights and trims, because that's my favorite color combination, blue and black together with purple. It's just really cool, really like it. But you know, at the end of the day, still Darkest Diablos is still really cool even with that red highlight. And then we have Lich Lord, King of the Underworld. Then we have Prometheus, King of the Shadows, Archfiend Emperor, the First Lord of Horror, Caius the Mega Monarch. So this card is really cool as well. Evolved version of Caius, normal Monarch, and kind of weird to see him as a common reprint though, but still really nice to have that. And then moving on, next we got Legendary Maju Garzette, Vanity's Fiend, Mist Archfiend, Inferno Dragon, Archfiend Cavalry, Stygian Street Patrol, Phantom of Chaos, Plague Wolf, Fiendish Rhino Warrior, So this is the only non-dark monster I think you play, but it's for fiend types, and there's a lot of fiend types in this deck, so you know, very essential core to help it out. We've got Curry Bandit, tour guide from the underworld, really good as well. Absolutely King Jack. So if you guys haven't noticed, I believe this is a Jack Atlas in some kind of miniature robot form. You can sort of see his hairstyle right there. Jack Atlas, which is a character from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, the guy who uses Red Dragon Archfiend, basically. Interesting. And then we got Reeling Karibo. Then we have Recurring Nightmare. Moving on to our spells. And then we have Allure of Darkness, essential again for draw power, to draw out your cards. We got Hand Destruction, Foolish Burial Goods, Boogie Trap, a really old card, the reprint as well. Fires of Doomsday. We got Veil of Darkness. And then moving on to our virus cards, we have Crush Card Virus, and this one is basically the post-errata one with a completely new effect that I'm very sure most of you who play the current meta game definitely know what it does, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. And then the other virus card, Deck Devastation Virus. And then we've got Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, really cool, really powerful card as well. I believe this card is limited right now, so these two virus cards are actually really essential, really powerful cards. Just completely just destroys up your opponent's deck and just ruins their combos. It even like just decks out or hands them, completely eliminates their hand and their deck even before they can do anything else really. So really powerful. Got Full Force Virus, one of the newer virus cards. Compared to the older virus cards, so but this is not that new, but I mean, you know, it's newer than this one right here for sure. Again, this card is really strong, must have as well in the deck, which really helpful. And then we have Dark Light. And we have Trap of Darkness, Mind Crush, a really good card, being able to, you know, since you with the virus cards, it just combines very well because virus cards allow you to check your opponent's hand, and being able to see your opponent's hand and being able to know the knowledge of what resources, what cards they have, it's just really key and essential. And with that Mind Crush, that combination, now you know that what card they have on their hand, you can basically use Mind Crush to get rid of anything that you think that is going to be threatening to your play whatsoever. You can get rid of hand traps, you can get rid of their combo extenders, of some essential effect monsters or spells that they use to basically bring out their combos, and use Mind Crush, get rid of them. Really good. Rise to Full Height. We got Curse of Darkness, which is interesting because its name is very similar to what this deck is all about as well, but not a very powerful card for this deck. We got Sinister Yorishiro, and then you can see a Rhema right here, and Vanity's Fiend, and so I believe this card is basically new, which is basically designed as when this structure deck came out. And then I guess last but not least, running off, we have one Torment token, basically. So the Torment token basically summoned with Lair of Darkness, the field spell, and they're 1000 attack, 1000 defense, and you just use them as basically tokens. And of course our Duel Links ad right here, as I mentioned earlier before, definitely highly recommend playing the game. So yeah, that basically wraps up the whole entire opening of this structure deck. This one's a little bit longer video because I've been explaining a lot about this deck in depth. Not in depth, but a little bit more in detail, because it is my favorite deck, and understanding this deck is my knowledge of this part. And you know, I hope you guys find it useful and enjoying this video, so be sure to hit that like button, thumbs up, subscribe to the AVAULT channel for more awesome and epic Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG opening for you guys coming up. And thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel in any way. As usual, you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are, and this is AVAULT signing